Ladies and gentlemen, the following segment of the podcast is presented exclusively by the Heritage Foundation. For 52 years, Heritage has fought tirelessly for America's founding principles and advancing conservative public policies. Much more than a think tank, Heritage is a conservative policy powerhouse, fighting for the everyday American to advance common sense policies and dismantle the D.C. bureaucracy. Our founding fathers gave us an extraordinary system of government, and the Heritage Foundation is dedicated to defending the heritage and carrying on their legacy for future generations. So get involved by completing their national survey on President Trump's agenda by visiting heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
America, Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. This is such a joke. Such a joke, the media and the Democrats, some of the never-Trumpers, some of the saboteurs. This is just such a joke. The chat fallout, the text fallout. The Democrats and the media are insisting there was classified information in there. You're insisting on it. Okay, so what was it? Apparently we're bombing the hell out of the Houthis in Yemen, and we're not getting many reports from our reporters about this, are we, Mr. Producer? I'm not reading much. We're not getting many reports about the impact of our military actions. There's been more time spent on this than the killing of 13 precious, heroic military personnel when Biden did what he did in Afghanistan. The Democrats have said more in 48 hours about this texting than they did about the horrendous death of our 13 soldiers. They didn't demand that Austin resign. They didn't demand that Milley resign. They didn't demand anything. They didn't want to know from Butkus. Now, I posted, I guess it was yesterday, Mr. Producer, last night, whenever it was. I don't give a blank about this. I don't give a blank about this because President Trump and his team will get to the bottom of it. We need to know what happened. How a reporter who hates Trump, in my view, hates the country, radical kook. His wife is a big Dem, and he's a big Dem. He's always in the middle of these controversies trying to set up Trump. That's not a reporter. That's a hitman. That's a Pravda-like hitman. We need to know how he got this information. That's a fact. But all this stuff from Mark Warner and the Democrats, they feel this is where they've got the Democrats. This is where the Democrats feel this is where we got Trump, rather. Now we've got him. They don't have anything and you don't have anyone. As desperate as they are. They don't have anything and they don't have anyone. Now they're calling for the resignation of Hegseth. Hegseth wasn't even involved. He was discussing some information with his fellow National Security Council team members. So he should resign. Waltz should resign. Who else? Gabbard. Oh, she should resign too. All three of them should resign. You understand what I'm saying? How ridiculous this is? Just consider the source. Democrats, media, and this guy Goldberg. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying it's not what they're trying to portray it as. It's not this massive scandal that they're trying to create. They came to Hillary Clinton's defense when she abused classified information. They come to Biden's defense when he abused classified information. They tried to stick the classified information stuff on Trump when he was, when he was president and leaving as president. Even though he had constitutional protections, I argued from day one, correctly. But now they're trying to turn this into some massive event. It's not a massive event. As the president said repeatedly today, this has been enormously successful. Amazes me is this. We literally have had military personnel severely injured, brain injuries, from what the Houthis did. And to fire the prior regime of doing anything effective about it. Again, you didn't hear the Democrats. You have a president of the United States that's funding the enemy, helping them fund their nuclear program against the United States. You didn't hear them whine about him. With terrorists coming across our border, probably Chinese communist spies for all we know. You didn't hear the Democrats concerned about that. You would Adam Schiff anxiously talking to people who he thought were Russians, providing him information on Trump. Turns out they were two comedians. You had Schiff working with a so-called whistleblower and others from the White House who had monitored, transcribed the president's discussion with Zelensky in Ukraine, leaked information to the Democrats on the Hill, to Schiff. Guy was a hero. So this is really small potatoes to me. I'm not worked up about it. As I said in the Post, I don't give an S about it because they'll get to the bottom of it and they'll fix it. That's what they'll do. With having an enormously successful, it turns out, campaign against the Houthis, which they're not reporting about. They're not reporting on it. And so they want to distract us. I'm not going to be distracted, neither are you. I do want to play some of what took place on Capitol Hill while you were at work or doing other important things. So Pete Hegseth should resign. Tulsi Gabbard should resign. This is them. Walt should resign. These people a joke? They got Swalwell in there. Guy was sleeping with a communist Chinese agent. Is this a joke? Yeah, it's a joke. Cut one, go.
Nobody's texting war plans. Well, I noticed this morning, out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information. You know,
now, what's interesting about this is I said pretty much the same thing last night, didn't I, Rich? There's nothing here. Well, you have times and some of the names of the jet. Yeah, okay. That's not a war plan. That's some information. There's no question about it. But not enough to matter. Go ahead.
I see them every single day. I looked at them this morning. I looked at attack plans this morning. You know who does attack plans and war plans? Men like that admiral right there, Paparo, for the Indo-Pacific, or Eric Kurilla, our general in CENTCOM. They do attack plans and war plans. And thank God we have those leaders who do it and do it well, and our enemies know it. My job, as it said atop of that, everybody's seen it now, team update is to provide updates in real time. General updates in real time. Keep everybody informed. That's what I did. That's my job. The war fighters will take the fight to the enemy, and I love what they do. And with President Trump's leadership, our enemies are on notice. We will have peace through strength, and we'll keep putting our troops first.
It's hard to even know why they're attacking Hegseth. He didn't do anything except express to his national security team colleagues in a rather general way what they were doing. Why is he his head on the chopping block? Because it's like the French Revolution. You know, everybody's got to go, according to the Democrats. They have people in their caucus who support Hamas and Iran. They had people in the Biden regime that were back-channeling information to Iran, and that person was given a higher position at the Department of Defense. They were funding Iran. But that didn't move a single Democrat to complain. Not one. That was okay. That was okay. This is Mickey Mouse, certainly in comparison. That's why I said last night, count me out. I'm not in this. I don't care. Jimmy Gomez is some lowlife from California, of course, a Democrat. And you'll see how low this piece of crap sinks. How low this piece of crap goes. This Jimmy Gomez. And he's talking to Tulsi Gabbard. And I have to say, I'm more and more impressed with Tulsi Gabbard. I just am. Cut 2, go.
To your knowledge, do you know whether Pete Hegseth had been drinking before he leaked classified
See what I mean?
information?
See what I mean? Had been drinking? Why would that be an allegation? Pete Hegseth had been drinking? You see, by the nature of the question, this guy is a hitman. It's a lowlife. This Jimmy Gomez. Had he been drinking? Just a complete smear. A complete attack. I don't know. Swalwell was at a hearing today. Was he sleeping with another communist Chinese agent? I'm just curious. Was he? Go ahead.
I don't have any knowledge of Secretary Hegseth's personal habits.
Director Radcliffe, same question. Yes or no?
No, I'm going to answer that. I think that's an offensive line of questioning. The answer is no. I find it interesting that you want to... I'm going to answer. You asked me a question. You want an answer?
No, listen.
You don't want to focus on the good work that the CIA is doing, that the intelligence community...
Director, I reclaim my time. Director, I reclaim my time. Here, I have huge respect for the CIA, huge respect for our men and women in uniform.
All right, stop. Mr. Producer, I want you to invite Jimmy Gomez on the show. I'm serious. Go ahead.
On the top of minds of every American, right?
No, that's not, you little jerk. You little peanut. No, it's not. As for top of mind, you have to have a mind to have a top of mind to begin with, clown, and you don't. It's an outrageous question that you asked, and you planted. And when you got pushback from a real man, Ratcliffe, you melted like butter on a stove. You're a punk. I don't know. Are you on drugs? Are you drunk? Do you have syphilis? Hey, Jimmy, I want to ask you those questions. Will you come on the show, please? You have bleeding hemorrhoids? Huh? Do you? I want to know, Jimmy. I want to know all about you, you punk. Go ahead.
Stood in front of a podium in Europe.
I sounded like you slurred right there to me, didn't he, to you, Mr. Producer? It's called podium, not poem. You moron. Go ahead.
So, of course, we want to know if his performance is compromised. If people were asking if the General Austin was compromised because of a heart issue.
Was his performance compromised because he was in the hospital and he didn't tell his boss? Who is this guy? Where'd they find this guy? Congressman, this is the best they can do in this district? This sleazeball who sleazes out from under a rock? Jimmy Gomez? What is he, a comedian or something? I don't know. Go ahead.
because of a successful strike?
Back. Mr. I bring my
you want to know? You want to talk about accepting responsibility? Do you think you should accept responsibility for a successful strike to make Americans safer? You want to focus on?
You reclaim your time, you moron. Then there's a guy whose name I couldn't pronounce if my life depended on it. I'm just being honest. It's not to be rude. It's got so many consonants in it, Mr. Producer, I don't know how to pronounce it. Raja, I'll spell it. Krishnamoorthi. You need like 2 bumper stickers, during the campaigns, don't you? One for the first name, one for the last. I don't know. Maybe I'm just cloistered. I've never quite seen anything like it, but apparently it's a very popular name in Illinois. Raja Krishnamoorthi. Cut 3, go.
This is classified information. This is classified information.
But it's not marked classified. It's not classified. You want it to be classified, right? You want it to be classified. You're desperate for it. They wish that what they assert had been done. Ladies and gentlemen, they weren't concerned about Hillary's emails that were officially classified as classified information. They could care less. Or Joe Biden's. They didn't care. They care less. Go ahead.
Weapon system, as well as sequence of strikes, as well as details about the operations. And so I think that just piggybacking off of what some other members have said, using the DOD's manual.
I don't know, Raj. Have you been drinking? I'm just curious. Were you drinking today? Were you drinking before you started this committee hearing? Folks, if all these personal questions are okay, they're okay. I don't know. Raj. Are you okay? Is your health okay? I'm just curious. You don't happen to have any kind of poison ivy in the wrong places, do you, Raja? I'm just curious. I just need to know. I mean, Jimmy Gomez is on a hell of a line of questioning there, I thought. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Listen, folks, if you're like me, you're passionate about protecting our American values. That's why I trust the Heritage Foundation. They're dedicated to promoting policies based on free enterprise, limited government, and traditional American values. The Heritage Foundation does more than just produce policy recommendations. They're mobilizing conservatives across the country. And right now, they need you to take action by completing their national survey on President Trump's agenda. Your responses to this survey will help guide Heritage leadership as they work closely with folks in Washington to promote your values, secure America's borders, and restore our freedoms. Here's what I want you to do. Visit heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/LEVIN to complete your survey. It's very, very important. My friends at Heritage need you to act now to help them maximize the impact on President Trump's first 100 days. Heritage is committed to preserving our founding fathers' principles and ensuring that America remains a beacon of freedom and opportunity. So I know you won't sit on the sidelines. You'll get involved, please, today, and make your voice heard. Visit heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Please complete your survey today. That's heritage.org/LEVIN, paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation. Hakeem Jeffries. They're all going on the Morning Schmo show, which has about 14 viewers now. None of them will come on this show, of course. We'll see. Maybe we'll get Jimmy Gomez. Jimmy, nobody knows who you are. You come on this show, everybody will know who you are. Think of it that way. Hakeem Jeffries on the Morning Schmo. He desperately wants this to be, like the attack on Pearl Harbor. He desperately wants it to be like that, which occurred under their favorite president, Franklin Roosevelt, and almost blew off the entire naval fleet. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to have to wait till after the bottom of the hour because we have a hard break now. But Hakeem's very concerned. He's stunned by this. It's troubling him greatly. But Swalwell's still on, the Foreign Affairs Committee or something like that? He should be on the Domestic Affairs Committee. No, foreign affairs is good, don't you think, Rich? What was her name? Fang? Fong? She's a foreigner and an affair. There you go. Foreign affairs. I'll be right back. Folks, I need to talk to you about something crucial to the future of America. Our friends at the Heritage Foundation are on the front lines fighting for our conservative values. Heritage is dedicated to promoting policies that will help bolster our economy, protect our borders, and uphold the rule of law. They're working tirelessly to defend our Constitution and the principles that make America exceptional. To help accomplish this, they need you to complete their national survey on President Trump's agenda today. So you can participate in this survey by going to heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. Your responses are crucial to this survey, and they'll provide Heritage leadership with crucial feedback as they work closely with the folks in Washington to promote your values, secure America's borders, and restore our freedoms. By completing this very important survey today, you're standing up for the values that have made this country great. And my friends at Heritage need you to act now to maximize their impact on President Trump's first 100 days. So please don't wait. Our future depends on you. Together, we can make a difference, and future generations inherit a nation that is free, prosperous, and strong. So please, right now, visit heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin, complete your survey, and join the fight for America's future. That's heritage.org/Levin, paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation.
Defending the red, white, and blue. Join Mark Levin at 877-381-3811.
Achim Jeffries on the Morning Schmo show, so now more people will hear what he said than saw on the Morning Schmo. But that said, I want you to hear it. Go ahead.
It's a stunning breach of America's national security. The lives of our servicemen and women were put into danger.
No, they weren't. And 13 were killed as a result of your party, and you didn't say a damn thing. Nothing. Not a damn thing. You're a pathetic joke, Hakeem Jeffries. Just pathetic. Go ahead.
And this is all being done by the person, the Secretary of Defense, who is charged with protecting...
Well, the Secretary of Defense, who now they're really gunning for, didn't do anything. He wasn't in charge of the call, organizing the call, or anything. So you can see how desperate they are and what they're up to. They're counting on the Soros, Koch, dimwittery to try and take out Waltz. I actually heard one of them on TV today. Pretty embarrassing. And now they're pressing, and they're hoping they can take out Pete Hegseth at the same time. They put up with Austin for all these years, no big deal. Milley for all these years, no big deal. I see they've dusted off and pushed out Susan Rice, who's a real disgusting phony. They're trying to concoct a scandal. This isn't a scandal. It was an accident. And they'll find out who it is. Probably some staffer. I don't know. But national security was harmed. Let me put it to you this way. Let's try it this way. What did the communist Chinese get off of that call that they didn't know before? Nothing. What did the Iranians get off that call that they didn't know before? Nothing. What did the North Koreans get off that call that they didn't know before? Nothing. What did the Russians get off that call that they didn't know before? Nothing. Nothing. That's what's meant by classified information. I was read into all these programs when I was chief of staff to the Attorney General. They desperately wish that they have more than they have. So they're trying to, quote unquote, upgrade the call. Gunning for Hegseth's head, which is so weird. Gunning, of course, for Waltz, but they're leaving that. They're leaving that to the Soros, Koch, backstabbing, isolationists, the dimwittery. John Ratcliffe again today. Cut 6, go.
You know, there's so much talk about this Atlantic article and about things that were said and that could have happened instead of a focus on what did happen. So my responsibility as CIA director, one of its responsibilities is to kill terrorists. And that's exactly what I did along with President Trump's excellent national security team. That's what we should be focused on. With regard to that article, I also would appreciate the opportunity to relay the fact that yesterday I spent 4 hours answering questions from senators as a result of that article that were intimating that I transmitted classified information because there were hidden messages. Those messages were revealed today and revealed that I did not transmit classified information, and that the reporter, who I don't know, I think intentionally intended it to indicate that. That reporter also indicated that I had released the name of an undercover CIA operative in that signal chat. In fact, I had released the name of my chief of staff, who is not operating undercover. That was deliberately false.
That would be Swalwell, who operates undercover. Go ahead.
And I appreciate the opportunity to reflect that my answers haven't changed. I used an appropriate channel to communicate sensitive information. It was permissible to do so. I didn't transfer any classified information. And at the end of the day, what is most important is that the mission was a remarkable success, is what everyone should be focused on here, because that's what did happen.
No. You don't understand. They don't even focus on what happened in Afghanistan. These people are hacks. They're partisans. That's all they are. So dismiss them. Ratcliffe is a class act. Go ahead.
Not what possibly could have happened.
Tulsi Gabbard. Cut 7, go.
I want to address briefly the signal chat issue that I know many of you are concerned about. The President and National Security Advisor Waltz held a press conference yesterday with a clear message. It was a mistake that a reporter was inadvertently added to a signal chat with high-level national security principals having a policy discussion about imminent strikes against the Houthis and the effects of the strike. The National Security Advisor has taken full responsibility for this, and the National Security Council is conducting an in-depth review along with technical experts working to determine how this reporter was inadvertently added to this chat. The conversation was candid and sensitive, but as the President and National Security Advisor stated, no classified information was shared. There were no sources, methods, locations, or war plans that were shared. This was a standard update to the National Security Cabinet that was provided alongside updates that were given to foreign partners in the region.
No, you don't understand. Mark Warner, who obviously has some issues, he just does, says now that Gabbard and Ratcliffe lied under oath to his committee. They lied under oath! See, they keep ratcheting it up. Next thing, they'll bring out the guillotine. Or one of their miscreants will talk about impeachment. The Democrats are a sick bunch of bastards. They really are on Capitol Hill and the media. They really are just the worst of the worst. I wrote the book on them, The Democrat Party Hates America. I hope you had an opportunity to read it, because it's true. They truly do hate America. I'm not going to play Mark Warner. He was all over the Morning Schmo show. I would recommend to my colleague, Joe, why do you put on people like that? That's why you get no ratings. Joe Kernan's a host on CNBC. It's too bad he doesn't get the attention that Scott Jennings does on CNN, which is endless. I even heard him use one of my lines, Mr. Producer. Remember this? Let me educate you. That's a copyrighted Levin line, but that's okay. But Joe Kernan is really good. Really good. And here he is on CNBC with Warner. Cut 10, go.
Yeah, but did you demand Lloyd Austin's resignation when he was out of pocket for 2 weeks and didn't tell anyone in the White House till 4 days afterwards that he was not in charge of as Secretary of Defense?
I called that out as inappropriate behavior. I called
you didn't
out
demand a resignation.
The first folks.
This will probably blow over, Senator.
That pushed.
By the way, this jerk senator is all over the place. He's losing his voice. He's losing his voice. Go ahead. You didn't demand his resignation. Kernan's right, did you, Warner? Go.
Well, I know you hope that, but if
no, I don't. Why would I? I don't care.
I was just saying, Joe. Joe, we've got this. If this was a one-off, if this was, oh my gosh, we're rookies, we didn't understand how you add people to a chat line, but this is a...
Okay, let me explain something, ladies and gentlemen. All the principals here did not set up the chat line. The principals here were not involved in adding a reporter by accident. A staffer did something or somebody else did something. Not one of the people who is being chastised here, not the Secretary of Defense, not the Director of National Intelligence, not the CIA Director, not the National Security Advisor, not the Secretary of State, whoever the hell else was on the call. None of them were involved in setting up that call. None of them. It could be that Walt said, let's have a call with the team and so forth and so on. But he didn't take the physical role of setting it up. So the truth is, Waltz has taken a lot of hits here. Everybody knows it for something he didn't actually do, but he's such a man. He said, I'm responsible. Then they go after Hegseth, not because he had anything whatsoever to do with setting up the call, but because what he said on the call. And Hegseth is saying, I didn't say anything that was classified. Oh, yes, we have determined, we Democrats in the media, we Democrats in the Congress, we've determined it's classified. And so now they want his head. And now Warner's going so far as to say Tulsi Gabbard lied under oath in front of his committee, and Ratcliffe lied under oath in front of his committee. Neither of them lied under oath, period. So you can see what this is turning into. And this is why I push back. This is what I do. I'd be happy to interview Mike Waltz. He'd get a completely different kind of interview. I'd be happy to interview him. I'd be happy to interview Pete Hegseth again. This broke afterwards, after my show on Sunday. But I wouldn't use the media narrative to ask Hegseth questions or Gabbard questions or Secretary of State questions or Waltz questions. I never do. I never will. Why would I do such a thing? All right, we've spent enough time on this, but it needed pushback, America. On the table, we have a request we're going to make for Jimmy Gomez, a Democrat from California, who asked the witnesses if they knew whether or not Pete Hegseth had been drinking that day. And so I want to bring this guy on and have a chat with him. Jimmy Gomez. So it is. He wasn't the only one. Some of the reprobates afterward held a press conference and asked the same question. It's funny. All kinds of drunks on Capitol Hill. All kinds of adulterers on Capitol Hill. All kinds of molesters on Capitol Hill. I would say this. If anybody out there knows of any, as a factual matter, contact Mr. Producer. Because now it's open game, right, Rich? Now it's free. It's open season. It's open season. It's a freebie. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Listen, folks, if you're like me, you're passionate about protecting our American values. That's why I trust the Heritage Foundation. They're dedicated to promoting policies based on free enterprise, limited government, and traditional American values. The Heritage Foundation does more than just produce policy recommendations. They're mobilizing conservatives across the country. And right now, they need you to take action by completing their national survey on President Trump's agenda. Your responses to this survey will help guide Heritage leadership as they work closely with folks in Washington to promote your values, secure America's borders, and restore our freedoms. Here's what I want you to do. Visit heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/LEVIN to complete your survey. It's very, very important. My friends at Heritage need you to act now to help them maximize the impact on President Trump's first 100 days. Heritage is committed to preserving our Founding Fathers' principles and ensuring that America remains a beacon of freedom and opportunity. opportunity. So I know you won't sit on the sidelines. You'll get involved, please, today, and make your voice heard. Visit heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Please complete your survey today. That's heritage.org/LEVIN, paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation. So far, The Atlantic downgraded their story from war plans to attack plans, and they left out something big. J.D. Vance posted, and he's correct, and you just heard Radcliffe say. They suggested that Radcliffe, had revealed the name of an undercover CIA agent, when in fact he just revealed the name of his chief of staff, which is public. So this, I'm just telling you, and when you see the same sleazeballs, reprobates, miscreants, and malcontents all involved, whether they're in the media or in the Democrat Party, it's the same old, same old. They closed their eyes to the 13 brave heroes who died as a result of what Biden did, Milley did, and the rest of those slobs did. Closed their eyes to it. They closed their eyes to Swalwell, who cheated on his wife with a communist Chinese spy and serves on the same committee. No big deal. Just blow that off, too. I remember the late Dianne Feinstein for 20 years. Apparently the guy driving her car was a communist Chinese spy. I mean, I can go on and on with these people. Well, what ifs, nobody died. The attacks were incredibly successful. They're ongoing. They did not, in fact, convey classified information. The information was not classified. That's how we know. They closed their eyes to Biden, who stole information out of the SCIF when he was a senator. And I have argued that when he was president, did that book interview, pulls out his Afghan classified note cards that they thought he had turned in, which he withheld, in order to get a few more shekels. Oh, yeah, we remember that, too. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Hillary Clinton and the classified emails. Oh, I forgot. Bill Clinton. Remember him? And the stuff that was in the sock drawer? Oh, we can go on and on here, folks. How about FDR and Aldra Hiss? They defended Aldra Hiss forever. How about Ted Kennedy? We've talked about him with Professor Ken Gore repeatedly when he was working the back channels with the communists. Hey, I got one in the Biden administration. How about this one? Where's Robert Malley? How come they yanked his clearance? How come that story died? Media. And his assistants, who were back-channeling the foreign minister of Iran. Remember that one? Oh, I forgot about that one. And we could go on and on and on. The Democrat Party hates America. The Democrat Party repeatedly sells out America. So do our media. Our media take junkets to communist China. Our media take junkets all over the damn place. Qatar. Oh, there's Qatar. By the way, did you see this? Qatar just got $2 billion. Did you see that, Mr. Producer? Were there strings attached like you can't give any to Hamas? I don't know what the hell's going on there. That's a weird one. All right. Do we still have time, Mr. Producer? Well, let me get to my business here. I was getting into a roll here. So this clown judge, Boasberg, I hope, fingers crossed, toes crossed, but unlikely, but I hope Congress will eliminate him in his courtroom. Well, guess what? That little panel on the circuit in D.C. by a 2-to-1 vote voted to uphold his stay on the deportation of future gang members, for that matter. They said, look, this isn't permanent, this reason, that reason, 2-to-1. The one judge who said no was appointed by President Trump. One judge who said yes was appointed by Biden, of course, and the other one was appointed by George W. Bush, Henderson. I don't know, folks. Some days it's just rough, isn't it? Bob Barr had a terrific interview yesterday. Bill Barr on the judge matter. I'll discuss that when we come back. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a lawsuit filed. Can you imagine? And let me read this to you from Breitbart. It's not Breitbart, excuse me. It is, what is it? ABC. Quite a difference. ABC lies and Breitbart doesn't. Lawsuit over Trump administration signal group chat assigned to judge in deportation case. We go, what? Lawsuit for what? 5 cabinet members are facing a federal lawsuit over the use of Signal to coordinate military strikes in Yemen, with the case presided over by the same judge handling the case against the Trump administration over its deportation flights under the Alien Enemies Act. That would be Boasberg. He's overseeing the deportation case. The use of the Signal group chat was revealed by this fellow Jeffrey Goldberg, who said he was inadvertently added to the chat. Transparency nonprofit American Oversight, I'm sure they're nonpartisan, filed a lawsuit today alleging that the use of Signal violates federal law that governs the preservation of government records, asking a federal judge to order the cabinet members to preserve the messages. All right, let's slow down a second. I assume the hook they used here was Freedom of Information Act. Freedom of Information Act, number 1, does not apply to White House staff. Now, they weren't all White House staff, but stay with me. Number 2, it doesn't apply to classified information. So which is it? Is it classified information or not? And look how they got this judge. Isn't that amazing, Mr. Producer? Wow. This judge is busy just by happenstance getting all these cases against Trump. It's amazing, isn't he? Very busy man. Very busy. Trying to run the country from his conference room with his 2 or 3 law clerks. So this group sues. Now, this case should be thrown out. They don't have standing. They really don't. It's not a FOIA issue. If they're in fact even using FOIA. Here's what they're doing is trying to get a protective order simultaneous with their Freedom of Information Act filing. Yeah, this shouldn't stand, but you got this judge. Anything's possible. According to the lawsuit, emergency relief is needed to prevent unlawful destruction of federal records to compel defendants to fulfill their legal obligations to preserve and recover federal records created through unauthorized use of Signal for sensitive national security decision-making. Names Hegseth, Gabbard, Radcliffe, Secretary of Treasury was on the call, Bessent, Rubio, Waltz. Declare the use of Signal unlawful. Order the cabinet members to preserve records immediately. Now, if this judge does this too, there's more of a reason to remove him, to eliminate his courtroom. According to American Oversight, the use of Signal violated the Federal Records Act. And the chat reported by The Atlantic strongly suggests that the Trump administration had used Signal in other settings. It's a harassment lawsuit. That's all it is. But it doesn't matter anymore because they have these judges and they figure all it takes is one of these kook judges to support one of their kook petitions, and there you go. Now, I just want to mention a couple of things. This weekend, because today It's Wednesday, so this weekend on Saturday we're going to have the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and we're going to have the governor of Florida. So we're going to have Jim Jordan and Ron DeSantis. Please set your DVRs or your TiVos. You're not going to want to miss it. Sunday we have Victor Davis Hanson, who's had the flu. He's been out for a while, but he's our buddy, and he likes the format, and we like him. And also Senator David McCormick and his wife. So you're going to love these shows, I know. That's a perfect show for Sunday. So I hope you'll check us out. And don't forget a little housekeeping here, as always. You can hear this program whenever you want, all 3 hours. All 3 hours. Our power hour is the third hour. We do a lot. We have two great guests, as a matter of fact. You can find all my full podcasts, which basically simulcast the radio show. All our interviews, our specials on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. You go to youtube.com at Mark Levin Show, or just search Mark Levin Show on YouTube. You want to catch us by podcast? It's important you make use of these new platforms. They're very important. Go to marklevinshow.com, click on Audio Rewind at the top, and pick your favorite podcast platform. Or you can go to your favorite podcast platform, and you already have that, and just search for Mark Levin Show. It's all free. Free. I said free. So we're having setbacks in some of these court rulings. We're going to need the Supreme Court to step in. We shall see if it will. I had mentioned Bill Barr. Bill Barr was actually superb yesterday on Fox when he went through this, talking about the usurping of the power of the presidency, talking about separation of powers, talking about the fact that no judge has any role in American foreign policy. And clearly when you're dealing with an international criminal gang, that's a national security issue, let alone foreign policy. It was absolutely outstanding, was Bill Barr. And that's good. It's excellent. Chuck Grassley, about these judges. He's been excellent on this, too. He's the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He's going to hold a hearing next week to address the issue of activist judges using nationwide orders to stymie President Trump's agenda, these national injunctions that we've talked about. Let me try and explain this. Let me shut the volume off. Let me try and explain it this way. Stick with me on this, but this affects your life, so. We have about 700 trial federal judges, federal district judges, every single one of them created by Congress, every one of their courthouses funded and created by Congress, per the Constitution of the United States. We've talked about their district judges. They're not national judges. So what Congress does, follow me, try and get this in your mind's image, okay? In your mind's image here. Let's look at it this way. 3 tiers of judges. The lowest court is the federal district courts that you're hearing a lot about. The next level court above it are these appellate courts. They're called circuit courts because they're each assigned an area of states. So you look at the Ninth Circuit. It includes, among other Western states, California. Then you have the Second Circuit that includes a lot of the states on the East Coast. And the Third Circuit, go on and on. Fourth Circuit includes a number of the Southern state. Eighth Circuit, a number of the Midwestern states. So at the lowest level, you have district judges that are in specific districts within specific states. The next level, you have appellate or circuit judges that are within certain circuits that cover certain states. Okay? So the breadth of the coverage of the circuit courts, the appellate courts, is much bigger than a single district court. And then you have the Supreme Court of the United States. It's in the Constitution. And they cover the whole country. Is this pretty clear, Mr. Producer? Now let's go back to the lowest courts. For a trial judge, it just takes the trial judge to make a decision and issue an order or an opinion. Just the one judge. For an appellate judge, it takes at least a panel of 3, a 3-judge panel like we just had in D.C. today. Now you can try and appeal to the broader court, the entire appellate court, to hear your case, and if they think it's important enough, they will. But for the economy of hearing cases, so the court isn't overwhelmed, the whole court, they have to break the court up into 3 panels from time to time, almost all the time, to hear cases, and from time to time, the whole court will hear it, the whole appellate court. And then the Supreme Court. In order to take up a case, you need 4 of the 9 justices to take it up. And if the 9 are sitting, to have an opinion or a conglomeration of a majority view, you need at least 5. And so the idea that the lowest court, let's go all the way back to Tier 1, the lowest court, the idea that one district court can place a temporary restraining order or an injunction or an order, period, on the entire country, one judge, not a panel of circuit judges. And by the way, in these appellate circuits, their rulings apply only to the states assigned to the circuit. So if there's 5 states assigned to one of the circuits, it only applies to those 5 states. And if there's a conflict between, let's say, the 5th Circuit and the 9th Circuit, then that's right for the Supreme Court to take it up and resolve it. Okay? But at the trial court level, we now have these trial judges, not a 3-judge panel, not an appellate court, not the Supreme Court, one judge issuing an order that applies to the whole country. Now, people might say, well, you can appeal it. The appellate process typically takes several years. So what are you going to do? With scores of decisions by the lower courts, you're going to just keep filing emergency appeals to the Supreme Court, one after another, after another, after another. This is why the Supreme Court needs to take one of these cases and resolve this problem. It can't duck it. It can't slow walk it. It's now in its lap. They got to fix it. This thing's turned on its head. One justice of the Supreme Court can't issue a ruling for the whole country. One appellate judge in one circuit can't issue an order for the whole country. But one district judge in San Francisco or Seattle and Boston or Providence or New York or Washington, D.C. can issue an order for the whole country? And then you got to appeal it again and hope you get it to the Supreme Court. That is crazy. So these federal district judges know exactly what they're doing. They have seized power that doesn't belong to the Supreme Court or an appellate court. They seize power for themselves. They know the process of appeal. I've seen some of these former federal prosecutors go on and say the way you deal with this is to appeal. And the way you to appeal, excuse me. Think we're stupid? Think we're stupid? Appeals typically take a long time. The Supreme Court needs to take one of these emergency appeals and deal with this. Or Congress must. So now you understand better than anybody else, even different than former federal prosecutors, that these federal district judges are lawless. Absolutely lawless. It is their job to uphold the Constitution. And when they don't, and they attack the Constitution and the judicial process this way, they're unraveling the rule of law. They are attacking the very justice system that has given them their black robes, their lifetime appointment, and their own bathrooms. Do you know that, Mr. Producer? They have their own bathroom in the courtroom. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Many of them are paneled, I understand. Oh, yeah. That's how bad this is. That's how bad this is. So, at the initial phase, these district judges think they have more power than the Supreme Court. And they're hoping the cases don't ever get to the Supreme Court. And they're hoping that what they do will last 2, 3, 4 years and won't necessarily get caught by the Supreme Court in the appellate process. But here's the really devious part of this. They know that the first few months of a presidential term are crucial. That's what's crucial. They used to talk about the first 100 days and that sort of thing. And so these district courts, they're doing this one after another at the behest of and in collusion with the people who are bringing these cases, who are of the same party, the same ideology, the same policy agenda, the same mindset. They're the same people, just in different roles. They know that if they can keep this up for several months, that they will have landed multiple blows against the Trump administration. That's what they know. I'm telling you the truth. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. Regardless of what the appellate courts or the Supreme Court does, they know that these initial hits against the Trump administration will slow the Trump administration down. Now, that doesn't mean the president will limit his executive orders or slow down in that regard. What I'm saying is slow down the implementation of what he's trying to do, because it's across the board. Now, I'm going to talk about some of this on Saturday, but I'm going to go even deeper. How did this get started? Who's behind it? I think you'll find it fascinating. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
This country was founded on freedom. Freedom from a country that forced us to buy overpriced tea, then try blockading us when we dumped their tea into the ocean. How'd that work out? Well, it's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard, too. You don't need to pay $100 a month per person just to get a free phone. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, says no to inflated prices and gimmicks. With a qualifying plan of just $45 a month, you can choose a free iPhone 14 or a free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans. And yes, this is for premium service. Unlimited talk, text, 25 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot at a fraction of the price of the big three. All on America's most dependable 5G network. Get your free iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans by visiting puretalk.com/Levin today. Switching is easy. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN to claim your free iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk. America's wireless company, my wireless company. So what we have, unless this is fixed and fixed fast, is judicial despotism. Well, how else do you explain it? Separation of powers under attack. Even the judiciary is being hollowed out from the bottom up. We have a very weak Chief Justice of the United States. Thus far, he's ducked. Won't take the bulls by the horn. And his lapdog, the Associate Justice, Barrett, who's one of the greatest of disappointments ever. She was considered the conservative. You know, Brent Kavanaugh was considered second chair. At least so far, the opposite is true. And it's a big problem. So right now we have a judicial despotism. And I would ask John Roberts this. The Democrats want to destroy the Supreme Court. They're trying to destroy individual Supreme Court justices. So are their media. We constitutionalists defend the court. We've done everything we can to defend separation of powers and our constitutional construct, but the judiciary has a lane. And when you allow these radical Democrat, Biden, Obama, Clinton judges, not just to go out their lane, but to reach into the lane of the executive branch and to take control of departments and agencies and spending and payroll and websites and so forth, because that's what's happened and more, then you, John Roberts, are contributing to the destruction of the constitutional construct, separation of powers, judicial review, which is supposed to be very carefully and targeted in its use. You, John Roberts, you are a judicial despot unless you do something to fix this, because you have the power to do it. I'll be right back. This country was founded on freedom. Freedom from a country that forced us to buy overpriced tea, then try blockading us when we dumped their tea into the ocean. How'd that work out? Well, it's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard, too. You don't need to pay $100 a month per person just to get a free phone. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, says no to inflated prices and gimmicks. With a qualifying plan of just $45 a month, you can choose a free iPhone 14 or a free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans. And yes, this is for a premium service. Unlimited talk, text, 25 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot at a fraction of the price of the big three. All on America's most dependable 5G network. Get your free iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans by visiting puretalk.com/Levin today. Switching is easy. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN to claim your free iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk. America's wireless company, my wireless company.
Mark Levin, the thunder on the right. Call in now, 877-381-3811.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a big race, special election in Florida for a House seat that was formerly Mike Waltz's seat, as a matter of fact. And the Republican running for that seat is Randy Fine. And Randy Fine's on the program now because this race is said to be very, very tight. Randy Fine, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. We're working hard, getting people to turn out to vote.
Well, tell us what's going on in this district and tell the nation the parameters of this district.
Well, it's a very Republican district. The president won by 30 points, but we have a challenge, which is Democrats are mad. They will walk on hot coals to vote, and they've raised $10 million from all over the country. Yeah,
$10 million?
All over the country. 10 million, small dollar donations, all on this weird Act Blue site, because they're advertising to people that if they can take the seat, they can take the majority, they can stop the Trump agenda, and they'll impeach the president. Again, it's very appealing to Democrats. So what I need people to do is if they live in this district, to go and vote tomorrow. They can go to my website, voterandyfine.com. They can find out where they can vote, and they can go vote early tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. We need our side to go and vote.
All right, let's break this down a little bit. Tell us some of the towns that might be familiar to people in your district.
Sure. So it's Daytona Beach, all the way north to St. Augustine, and then it's all the way to the west, kind of to the outskirts of Gainesville, Ocala, and a part of the Villages. All of that. It's an area bigger than the state of Connecticut. That's what we're talking about, between Orlando and Jacksonville.
And the concern here is that Republicans are happy with President Trump and what he's doing, and they're not as focused on this race as the Democrats, who view this as a way to get to Trump. Is that what's going on?
Yes. I mean, look, they know that if I lose, they stop the Trump agenda. And not only that, their candidate is as crazy as it gets. He doesn't want to defund the police. He wants to disarm the police. He doesn't think the police should carry guns. The guy is a radical Islamist who believes Israel should go away, Palestine should be recognized, and believes every crazy lunatic thing. He will make the squad look conservative. So it's not only the Trump agenda at risk, but a radical wacko getting up there. That's why people need to get out and vote.
What's his name?
His name is Josh Wheel. So, and after 9/11, he converted to Islam because that was a good time to do that. He's actually a teacher. Yeah. Because he's actually a teacher who was suspended for beating up one of his kids. He had a female teacher accuse him of poking her with a stick. I mean, this guy's just a terrible human being, but Democrats don't care because he has a D after his name and they can stick it to Donald Trump. So that is what is at stake, lunacy or the Trump agenda moving forward.
No, we can't let them take this seat. So a couple of things, Randy Fine, excuse me 1 second. If people want to donate to your campaign, where do they go?
They go to voterandyfine.com. They can donate there. They can volunteer there. They can find out where they vote there. Voterandyfine.com. And every dollar that we raise immediately goes to voter contact. Every single dollar.
So,
by
Mr.
the way,
Producer,
my opponent pays himself a salary with his money.
Well,
I'm not kidding.
He sounds like a real loser. I'll tell you what, Mr. Producer, put voterandyfine.com, put it up there. America, you got to view this as our seat in our battle. Obviously, the people in the district, it's the 6th Congressional District in Florida. Number one, if you live there and you don't vote, and this kook wins the other guy, that's on you, and you're going to punish the nation and President Trump. So President Trump won by 30 points in this district. There really is no excuse for a single Republican to stay home. That's number one. Number two, in the district, but all over the nation, I urge Levinites, patriots, dig in, do something. This man needs some money to have a fighting chance in this race because the Democrats are going nuts. This is kind of a secret race. The nation's not paying any attention to it. It's just one of those under the radar races, and people are like, oh yeah, it's Waltz's seat, so fine, we'll win. It's not working out that way. What else can you tell Randy Fine, the American people, to encourage them that they've got to get involved in this race? And by the way, you can vote early now, but voting in person is Tuesday. Is that correct?
No, voting in person is now. People can vote in person tomorrow, Friday, or Saturday. It takes 5 minutes because it's the only thing to vote for. There's no wait, or they can vote on Tuesday. I mean, it's what's at stake. I'm running because I believe God saved President Trump's life so he could save the world. And so I'm going to help him get that agenda done. All these executive orders are great, but we have to pass laws to back them up. And our margin in the House is so small, they see it. They see if they could win, they could get all of the moderate Republicans to go, oh my God, if we can win in a seat that Trump won by 30, I better not be so conservative. That's what's at stake, the entire Trump agenda. And so that's why I'm working as hard as I can to make sure every one of these conservative voters votes. There's 100,000 Republican super voters in this district who have not voted yet. Every one of them needs to get out and vote. If they do, we'll win.
Does it help if I endorse you?
Sure. I'd be honored.
Well, I want to endorse you. Randy Fine for the House of Representatives, Florida 6th Congressional District. Folks, we got to have a Levin surge here. We got to rally around Randy. We got to get him the funds he needs. People in that district, you got to vote. I mean, there's a lot of people in districts where they wish they could vote for Randy Fine, but they can't. They're either in a marginal district or there's the Democrat who's got a marginal numbers better than the Republican. So you have an opportunity here to make a difference, to send a message to the whole country, to the Democrat Party, and help protect President Trump's agenda, which is our agenda. We can't have, it's too damn close in the House. You make a great point, Randy Fine, which is this. If Republicans are nervous and they're not from significantly Republican districts, they're going to start to wimp. And not only that, moderate Democrats, all three of them, they're going to start to wimp too. And they're going to say, wait a minute, that guy, that radical kook won. I don't need to be so moderate. So the moderate Republicans will become more moderate, and the so-called moderate Democrats will become more radical. That's how this is going to be viewed in Washington, no?
That's exactly right. That's why I need to not only win, I need to win by a lot so we show that people continue to support the Trump agenda. Every Republican in the country is counting on these 100,000 Republicans to go out and vote. This is where the Trump agenda is on the line. So, because we need to make sure he has those votes to get these things done. You're absolutely right. We don't want people to go, oh my God, I could lose if I'm too conservative. I'm not afraid. Part of the reason they hate me is I'm the most conservative member in the Florida legislature. Ask any Democrat. They hate my guts because I'm not afraid. I passed the bill that said you couldn't cut body parts off kids in the name of fake transgender science. I mean, that was mine. I got assaulted 3 times in a day because of it. But I don't care because I do what is right. And what is right now is to stand with President Trump. And that's why I need people to get out and vote for me.
All right. This is a Levin surge in terms of providing Randy Fine with support, folks. If you can, really, you got to help. You go to voterandyfine.com. It'll be on my sites. Voterandyfine.com. And if you live in that district and you're one of us and you don't vote, shame on you. I'm just being honest with you. Shame on you. You got to bring this one home. All right, Randy Fine, what's today, Wednesday? I want Randy Fine back on the show Monday, if we can do this, Mr. Producer, okay? All right, Randy, we're with you. We're behind you, baby.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, take care of yourself. Come on, folks. Come on, folks. I'm heard all over the state of Florida. We're heard in every corner of the country. In fact, we're heard all over the world. There's two races I'm drawing your attention to. The one in Wisconsin, because we got to win that Supreme Court, or we're going to lose 2 House members. They're going to redistrict the whole damn thing, and she's a radical nut. I believe she's out of Madison, but I could be wrong. And now we have this case. You just heard about this guy, Josh Wheel. Sounds like a complete crazy ass. After 9/11, he converts to Islam. Now, people want to convert. That's fine. But why would you do it after 9/11? So the guy's a kook. Okay? But that's not even why. The Speaker of the House needs this seat. This seat is not a given right now. You got to go out and fight for it, which means we, the people, are going to make the determination. If his opponents raise $10 million from small contributions all over the country, and we've never even heard of this race before until I looked at it yesterday with my own 2 eyes. I said, what the hell's going on with this? And I looked, I said, holy crap, the Democrats may win this seat. I am alerting you now. I told you, I'm an activist. That's what I am. I'm mission-oriented. And not for the Republican Party, for the country. But he needs to win. And he needs some financial support. And he needs the votes. In that district, the 6th district of Florida, for crying out loud, takes 5 minutes. It's a special off-year election. You got to get it done. Don't let them pick us off this way. I mean, President Trump's out there every damn day, fighting like hell, day in and day out, day in and day out. The least you can do in this district and vote, and the least we can do, the rest of us in this country, is overwhelm the Democrats. Let us overwhelm them for once. Let us rise up, stand up, and say, you don't get to steal Mike Waltz's seat. Not going to happen. And this guy, Randy Fine, sounds pretty good to me, doesn't he, to you, Mr. Producer? He sounds pretty good to me. So patriots, Levinites, fellow constitutional conservatives, we want the Trump bills passed. We want the tax cut passed. We want the funding to secure the border passed. We want increased funding for the military passed. We want discretionary programs cut. We're not going to get it done if the Democrats send another leftist in a Republican seat to the House of Representatives. It's not going to happen. Now, I want you to think this through. If they win that Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin, you're going to lose 2 Republicans. If they take this seat in Florida, God forbid, there's no way they should, they're going to pick up a 3rd seat. They're going to have the majority. We can stop this. You and me. Forget about all the rest of them. They don't, other talk show, they don't know what the hell's going on. I'm talking to you. This is the biggest town hall meeting in America, where we patriots come together every evening. I'm talking to you. Target this seat. Target this seat. Like everything's on the line. The House is too close. And if they win the House, they get those 2 seats out of Wisconsin, they get this seat out of Florida, God forbid, they will impeach Donald Trump. Look what they're doing on this ridiculous tech story. Hegseth needs to go, Gabbard needs to go, Waltz needs to go, sure, next Trump needs to go. The Democrat Party hates our country. They do. They want power. They're power hungry. They want a one-party country. They love what the courts are doing. They should. They organized it. So when there's things that we can actually do about this, when there's steps we can... I had a lady today. She was a kind of aggressive lady, the end of where I was eating lunch. You know, I love you, but you're a little loud. So I said, well, lower the volume then. First of all, who says that? I said, oh, okay, I'll change for you. But anyway, Mark, what can we do? What can we do? How do we stop these rhinos? Rhinos. Can we primary them? I said, well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Here's what we can do right now, all of us. Do not let the Democrats steal this race. It was under the radar. It's not under the radar anymore. Not once I've embraced it, I've targeted it, and I've encouraged all you Levinites, you patriots, you constitutional conservatives. We got to do something about this seat. Got to do something about the 6th Congressional District in Florida. We've got to win the seat. We've got to back this guy, Randy Fine. VoteRandyFine.com. Hello, all together now. VoteRandyFine.com. If you live in the district, vote. If you live in the district, donate. If you live in the United States of America, donate. We've got to hold this seat. I don't know what else to say. We'll bring the gentleman back Monday and do what we can. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
This country was founded on freedom. Freedom from a country that forced us to buy overpriced tea, then try blockading us when we dumped their tea into the ocean. How'd that work out? Well, it's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard, too. You don't need to pay $100 a month per person just to get a free phone. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, says no to inflated prices and gimmicks. With a qualifying plan of just $45 a month, you can choose a free iPhone 14 or a free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans. And yes, this is for a premium service. Unlimited talk, text, 25 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot at a fraction of the price of the big three. All on America's most dependable 5G network. Get your free iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans by visiting puretalk.com/Levin today. Switching is easy. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN to claim your free iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk. America's wireless company, my wireless company. Don't forget, you can listen to this program anytime you wish. All 3 hours. Anytime you wish. All 3 hours. Go to marklevinshow.com. Click on Audio Rewind at the top and pick your favorite podcast platform. If you already have a favorite podcast platform, just search Mark Levin Show. Everything's absolutely free, of course. I'm not going to ever rip you off. It's you and me, baby. And we have our own YouTube channel. You can now find all my podcasts and interviews and specials on YouTube. Our podcast is the radio program, so we reach everywhere with this program. You go to youtube.com at Mark Levin Show, or just search Mark Levin Show on YouTube, and there will be. We have a very powerful hour 3. We have Scott Walker coming on, the former governor of Wisconsin. Again, we want to talk about that race and other things. And we have a friend of ours, don't we, Mr. Producer? Dr. Elaine Healy. Who is she? 5 years ago today, she called into this program about a memo that was put out by the governor's office of New York directing nursing homes to take individuals who came out of hospitals with COVID. We know what happened from there. We'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Welcome back, America. This is Hour 3, the Power Hour. We have our friend Elaine Healy with us. 5 years ago today, we got a call from Elaine Healy on then Governor Cuomo's directive to put COVID patients in nursing homes. Elaine Healy, I want to welcome you back. It's been a long time. I want you to walk down memory lane a little bit. Your memory will be better than mine. What happened that day? The article appeared in the Journal. I mentioned it. Then what happened?
Well, good evening, Mark. So, yes, to set the story, it was the early days of the pandemic. I was the medical director of a nursing home in New Rochelle, which was at the time the epicenter. And we were doing our level best to keep COVID patients out of nursing homes because we knew that the disease had struck in Washington State in a nursing facility, and there had been terrible mortality. And it was very grim and bleak back then. We didn't have PPE. This city was under quarantine by Cuomo at the time. And all of a sudden, across my email came this directive from the Department of Health, authored by Andrew Cuomo and his then Commissioner of Health, Dr. Howard Zucker, saying, in essence, that we must comply with the receipt of patients from hospitals into the nursing homes, and that we were prohibited from testing them for COVID or for requesting that they be tested for COVID. Now, at that time, the hospitals were overflowing, and the governor and the Department of Health knew exactly how many open beds there were in the facilities. And since we are under their jurisdiction, they survey us and license us, we had no choice. So I was absolutely flabbergasted, and I forwarded the directive to the National Organization of Nursing Home Medical Directors, and they convened an emergency meeting of the Physician Board of Directors that very day on the 25th and issued a statement against this directive. And I want to point that out because you'll hear Andrew Cuomo say that all objections to this directive were politically motivated, but the first objection came from a physicians group. I had a brief interview with someone from the Wall Street Journal, and then the next day, Mark, 5 years ago today, almost to this hour, I called into your show, and thank God you took the call, and you ran with it for a while. I think you were stunned, as I was, and after that, it got kind of quiet because there wasn't, the media didn't pick up on it, but just for you, and this call to you, wasn't until 4 weeks later when the families organized and started to protest and the press started to question him that then it rose up to media attention. But by then, thousands of people had been transferred into the nursing homes. So it was
stunning. I remember reading it. The memo.
Yes.
I go, yes. What in the world? And it was a directive. It wasn't if and it was, and you will do this, like in two different places, if I remember correctly, in the memo. And
yep.
I spoke to you. I said, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "No."
Yes.
I mean, this was a death warrant for a lot of the people who are already, they have mortality issues already, morbidity issues, I should say, and it had a horrendous effect all throughout New York, all throughout these homes, didn't it?
Oh, it was, Mark, the other day I was attending a memorial service that these same families had in Brooklyn. And it brought it all back, how devastating it was, not only to the families, of course, the victims, but it made me realize how much it devastated the nursing homes and all of the staff that had to witness, this terrible tragedy that saw people, succumb at these terrible numbers, which is, it was just an awful time.
But he brought the pandemic into these nursing homes, whereas you well know these people, they were the least able to fend it off. And, I mean, here where I'm in Florida, the governor was quite wise. He knew immediately you don't bring a pandemic into the homes of elderly and so forth, that's just asking for trouble. And, I mean, he did everything like the complete opposite. Now the guy wants to be mayor.
You just hit on something that's so important, because in pandemic, you'll hear him say, I'm following guidelines. The pandemic guidelines that existed then, which of course actually nobody followed, but the truth is pandemic guidelines were such that infected, contagious patients were never supposed to go into nursing homes. Mm-hmm. Nursing homes were supposed to be clean zones to take in the overflow from the hospitals for people who had fractures or strokes or something like that. You never were supposed to send contagious people into nursing homes. So you're right. It was a complete opposite of what should have been done.
And to this day, he takes no responsibility. I believe a congressional committee issued a report condemning him, and now he wants to be mayor.
Oh, my God.
What do you think of that? And he's leading.
Oh, it's bizarre. I mean, you saw the way people were with him back then when he was doing those press conferences, and he was very popular at the time. But it would be a disaster. And Mark, this wasn't just a one-time event. It was part of a series of really errors and mistakes in judgment. And he's got a real serious, character flaw and personality flaw, and this tremendous ego. I mean, you'd think that he was writing a book and he was joking with his brother on CNN, and just what kind of person is like that? Judgment and integrity are completely lacking.
Mm-hmm. Well, now he thinks he should be mayor. I hope the people in New York are smart enough to put their end to that out of their own self-defense. I mean, when it really came to a health issue, a big issue, he did exactly the wrong thing. And here's the thing, Elaine Healy. He knew it was the wrong thing. People were telling him. It's not like it was a secret. They said, what are you doing? You said it. I said it. Other people, what are you doing, Governor? And he did it anyway.
Oh, there's so many different ways that can be looked at. I've heard people say even that it was done on purpose, meaning, just, which I think is not the case, but I've heard people say that the hospitals were putting a lot of pressure on him, and
something caused him to do it, because it was ridiculous. It was crazy even then. Anybody with common sense, I'm not a doctor, I'm barely a patient, and I'm reading this thing, and you're talking about, what? Even back then, we knew that the elderly were the most vulnerable. Even then.
Yes. So,
well, Elaine, let me tell you.
How he's going to cover it up.
I don't either, unless the media cover it up for him. Let me say, you're a hero. If it wasn't for you, it wouldn't have gotten national attention if you hadn't called into my program. But obviously, you were so upset. We obviously concealed who you were and where you worked. But it was absolutely heroic what you did, Elaine. And I want to thank you. We'll have you back more often, if that's all right, to see what's going on around here. You take care of yourself, okay?
Certainly, Mark, and you as well. And thank you.
And thank you, Elaine. What a fascinating and fantastic woman. No, Rich? Should I go now? Go. All right, let's do it. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
One of our favorites, former governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker, president of YAF, Young Americans Foundation, one of the great foundations, by the way. By the way, Governor, welcome. If people want to support YAF, where do they go?
YAF.org, YAF.org, and they can help. We just had kids out at the Reagan Ranch and the Reagan, for both the high school and the middle school programs, college, high school, middle school, YAF.org.
Yeah, it's so fantastic out there. It was very kind of you to have me out there a couple of years ago. It just is remarkable. All right, you got this big race in Wisconsin. I want you to tell the American people, including the people in Wisconsin, we're all over Wisconsin, we're all over the country, why this damn race for the Supreme Court is so darn important.
Yeah, I took a day off. I'm on the bus right now with former Attorney General Brad Schimmel, who is running. He's the conservative, lifelong prosecutor, now a judge in Waukesha County, and he's running against an extremely ultra-liberal candidate, Susan Crawford. And why does that matter to your national audience? Well, Susan Crawford and her allies have said if she wins, it won't just be a 4-3 liberal majority. They'll be activists, and one of the things they have said they're going to do is redraw the congressional maps in Wisconsin to get rid of 2 House Republicans. That's why George Soros, Rex Hoffman, J.D. Pritzker, a long list of other radicals are pouring so many millions into this state that Crawford's campaign has actually now spent about $10 million more than I did in my first race for governor, goodness sakes. And they're buying 2 seats in the House to get the majority back and stop Donald Trump's agenda.
By the way, they're trying to pick off Republicans all over the place. In Florida now, they're trying to take the 6th Congressional District. That was Waltz's seat. They're pouring millions and millions in. These people are serious. We need to understand that just because we won this general election, we have these battles going on, and this one in Wisconsin is critical. I know people, the Supreme Court. No, the Supreme Court. Look at what the courts are doing right now to us, to the president, to the agenda.
Right. They would decide this House seat. They'd get rid of voter ID. They would stop taking violent criminals who are in this country illegally out of Wisconsin, just like these federal judges are doing. This is all about stopping the president. It's all about stopping this agenda. The good news is in Wisconsin, as you know, Mark, we helped the president carry the state last year. It was one of the 7 battleground states. He carried all 7 of them. But there's about 200,000 voters that vote in November that voted for President Trump, but who don't typically vote in the spring elections. And so our quest, talking to you tonight, for people listening who live in Wisconsin, or for anybody listening who knows someone who lives in Wisconsin, does work in Wisconsin, has any connection to Wisconsin, let them know that between now and April 1st, they've got to show up next Tuesday to vote. If those 200,000 some voters that voted for Trump vote for Brad Schimmel, we win. If they stay home, she wins, and we're in big, big trouble.
I think the fact that George Soros is so heavily invested in this woman to be on the Supreme Court ought to draw the attention of your average Republican in Wisconsin. No, Governor?
Oh, it should. I mean, it should just for the policy itself. Act 10, the reforms I did, taking on the union bosses, school choice, right to work, voter ID, all of those things will be gone if she's on the court. But nationally, I mean, you just had Hakeem Jeffries the other day say on video, for goodness sakes, I think it was on Monday of this week, that they were counting on picking up 2 seats if things go the way they hope here in Wisconsin. So they know what's at stake. It's incumbent upon others to pay attention to this, and that they would no holds barred. You know, they're hoping for a bunch of us who voted for Trump to be complacent. I'm certainly not complacent. I hope people listening aren't complacent, but these are the things that matter. Not just getting him elected, but making sure he's got the firepower to get things done over the next 4 years.
And he's even taking an active role now, the president is, and saying we've got to elect. What's his name? I don't even know his name. I don't even care what it is. Brad Schimmel.
SCHIMEL for Justice, if people are interested, .com. He is, like I said, a former attorney general, a judge, someone who understands what you've understood for years. The role of judiciary is to uphold the Constitution and those laws duly enacted with it, no more, no less. You've got these other freaks on the left who somehow think, you know, if you can't get it done in governor's offices, you can't get it done in the White House on the leftist agenda. They want judges to do it. That's not the way we operate in America. But yet that's what the left wants to. In this case, they're trying to buy a seat in the Wisconsin State Supreme Court.
And listen, folks, this is crucial. People don't understand these Supreme Court elections. I'm from Pennsylvania. People sit on the sidelines. The union bosses, the Democrats, they pick off these judgeships, and that's how they took over the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania and affected the 2020 election. And now you're talking about, you know, she's on the court. How long are they on the court, Governor?
A decade. a decade, and it wouldn't. The next time to make up for this would be 2028. So not only would it affect things now for President Trump, but voter ID would be gone. The law I signed, one of the toughest in the country, making it easy to vote but hard to cheat, that would be gone. But Wisconsin would no longer be a battleground state. We'd go to be in a deep blue state. As you know, Kamala Harris, the only states she won were states without voter ID. If you have fair elections, people like her are going to lose, and that's why they're pouring so much money into this race. We're not going to let it happen. That's why I'm out in the bus with Brad right now, and we just got to get the word out.
Folks, you got to vote. You got to vote now in Wisconsin. Tuesday's the time and the place. You got to save your state. You got to save the country. They're going to pick up 2 seats unearned because of another radical kook justice. Governor, thank you. Don't hang up. We'll be right back.
Love him or hate him or really, really hate him. The Great One is on the air at 877-381-3811.
Or really, really love him. Right, Mr. Producer? Robert, Suffolk County. How are you, Robert, Suffolk County?
Good evening, Mark. I'm very, very concerned. The judiciary is trying to take Trump's executive powers, presidential powers under the Constitution, away from him with these orders. Right now, it's deportations. If the permanent injunction is granted, that'll be the end of deportations.
I think to make this as crystal clear as I can, you have a body that is supposed to be utterly nonpartisan. Lifetime appointments. They're supposed to uphold the Constitution. If they use their positions to usurp, to undermine, and shred the Constitution, to seize power for themselves, to advance an ideology in a political party, that's a real insurrection. It's also despotism. Right now, we have a judicial despotism. That's what we have. We do not have an authentic republic. That'll be a phrase they steal, but I'm telling you, we do not have an authentic republic. It is a pretend republic. When over 77 million people turn out and vote for Donald Trump to be president based on what he's promising, and he has a mandate, and nothing he's doing, nothing is out of the ordinary in terms of the Constitution. What he's doing that's out of the ordinary is he's trying to wrestle the unconstitutional parts, the bureaucracy. The only legitimate government, folks, is a representative government. The only legitimate government is a government that gets the consent from the people. This goes way back to Jerusalem, to Athens, to Rome. This goes way back to Aristotle, to Cicero. It goes way back to the Enlightenment philosophers, to John Locke, to Montesquieu, and many others. It goes back to your founding fathers, to the framers of the Constitution. Your Constitution was built around, excuse me, the context of the Declaration of Independence. You now have individuals who take their perspective not from everyone. Did you get it? Okay. Sorry, having a little moment here. They're taking it from the German philosophers. Well, one French, Rousseau, and then Hegel, and then Marx. These people have nothing in common with our founding. Nothing. The centralization of the state, the redistribution of wealth, classes, economic classes, now identity classes. This is all a perversion. It's all a perversion. When you read these people, as unfortunately I've had to, and it's a great labor. I didn't say a labor of love. It's a great labor to read them. They're verbose. They're contradictory. It's really kind of asinine. You read this stuff, it's fanciful. These fictional societies, they want to set up utopian societies. Even if they work, you don't want to live there, trust me. But they don't work. We're not going to see any withering away of the state in a temporary period of despotism and communism. You see an endless period of despotism. There's no withering away of the state. The only way you get rid of a communist state is to overthrow it, and usually violently. And I could go on and on. The point is, that's the perspective of these judges. That's the perspective of the Democrat Party. They don't believe in natural law. They don't know what the hell natural law is. Unalienable rights. What does that mean? That means you believe there's a creator, God. Well, a lot of them don't believe in that either.
Yeah, that's right.
So you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes, absolutely. We're in danger of losing our country.
We are losing our country right in front of our eyes. Robert, good call. Thank you. I didn't mean to take up all your steam there, but let's go to Sam, Dallas, Texas, the great WBAP. How are you, Sam? Is Sam the man there?
Love you. Pray you're well.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I called the Supreme Court recently, and I was told that they only take comments through snail mail, through letters.
I'm sure. I
called to comment about this judicial tyranny and to express my frustration, and they said they only take snail mail. So I wish 1 million letters would go to the Supreme Court telling them we support
Can I tell you, so they're used to that, whether it was abortion and other stuff. They don't care. They don't even read them. They don't even read the letters.
I wish they would get flooded with millions of them. I mean, we are tired of this, and you know it. Everybody knows it. And but anyway, it was just a thought. Their address is on their website if people want to take the time.
Isn't this nut job Crockett from Dallas?
Yes, yes.
You know, I lived in Dallas very, very briefly. I worked for Texas Instruments for about 6 months before I went to the Reagan administration, straight out of law school, Richardson, Texas. And I loved it there. I mean, this is a long, long time ago. This is it's 45 years ago. And I remember Skillman. Obviously, these communities have changed radically. Skillman Drive, all these places. And Plano, Texas was barely on the map. Now it's a very heavily populated, wonderful suburb. I'm well familiar with these things. In any event, there is no way back then that even if a Democrat was elected out of Dallas, you'd have a complete, unhinged, radical, Marxist head case like her. She is like the lowest of low, isn't she?
She's a disgrace. Mm-hmm. Disgrace to Texas, I think, my opinion.
Texas and the country. Just a nasty, stupid person. All right, brother, and thank you for your call. That was very kind of you. I appreciate it. Is Nate, Baltimore, Maryland, XM Satellite. Nate, how are you, sir?
Good, sir. Thank you for taking my call. It's a privilege to speak with you.
You too.
So anybody can look up what I'm about to say, but those agency heads that were testifying today, they all maintain a power called Original Classification Authority, which is delegated down from the president. So as information pertains to each of their respective agencies.
Let's slow down. Let's slow down. What you're saying is they have the power to classify and declassify.
100%. And so they tried to throw it in Director Gabbard's face with her own classification guidance. And she said, no, this is DOD stuff. You have to talk to the Secretary of Defense. And so by virtue, and he's come out publicly and stated it wasn't classified, and that's it.
And that's it. But they don't care, do they? They don't mind confusing the public. The reporters don't mind confusing the public. This is a phony scandal. Absolutely 100% phony. Coming from people who cost the lives of 13 American soldiers, people who don't give about national security a damn, securing the border, funding the military. It's just appalling. In fact, their candidate for president this time around, Kamala Harris, voted against every salary increase, and they're de minimis, 2%, 2.5% for our military personnel. She voted against every one of them. So we didn't need lectures from these people. We didn't need lectures from the likes of Mark Warner and these other reprobates, or their media, Jeffrey Goldberg, another a-hole. And that's not classified. Everybody knows he's an a-hole. All right. Thank you for your call. Very good, Nate. We appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
So the Federalist, great site, they're reporting. You know what they're reporting, America? 1/3 of the federal district judges in Washington, D.C. were born in foreign countries. What's that all about? And that district has become very radicalized. Very radicalized. So 1/3 of the judges there, the federal district judges, are foreign born. What are you trying to say, Mark? I'm trying to say it's very radicalized. President Trump signed a historic Election Integrity Act today. I believe it's Cut 11. I want you to hear this, folks. Go.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time.
Amen.
This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance.
Federal judge is going to step in here and try and kill it. You watch. Go ahead.
Election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but the compliance with National Election Day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Okay. You all understand that? Yes. Election fraud. You've heard the term. We'll end it, hopefully. At least this will go a long way toward ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide.
No, but you know what? You have integrity. You're principled. You're consistent. And anybody who's skeptical about that last election, folks, now, all of a sudden he wins this massive election, 10 million people didn't show up for the Democrats. It's like, how is that even possible? We only have a couple minutes. Let's take some calls here, shall we, Mr. Producer? Let's see. Who do we have? Help me, help me. Oh, there it is. Man, that's weird. Let's go to Brent, Madison, Wisconsin, XM Satellite. Brent, go right ahead, please.
Thanks. I'm calling about the Supreme Court race here in Wisconsin. I'm an attorney here in Wisconsin and have had cases before Judge Crawford. One thing I wanted to highlight was she has violated some local rules during her term as a judge, which the case ended up settling for different reasons, but that is concerning alone. I also was at a meet and greet with Judge Crawford, and I would like to just highlight for Republicans in Wisconsin that a lot of slip and fall lawyers, as you call them, are supporting Judge Crawford, but she made it abundantly clear that her intention is to redistrict the map to remove seats in Congress if she is elected. So,
you know what, my friend, Mr. Attorney, fellow attorney, she's not qualified to sit on a bench if she's making comments like that. I mean, you can talk generally about that sort of thing, but when she's talking about removing 2 members of Congress and that sort of thing, she doesn't even have judicial temperament, does she?
Not at all. And combine that with violations of local rules for her court alone. She's not qualified for it. No. And I really need Republicans in Wisconsin to join.
All right, everybody. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate Brent's call. You heard what he said. She's a disaster. You better go out and vote against her. You're gonna be the one suffering the consequences. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our truckers, the men and women in Ukraine, the men and women in Israel, and you, the American people. 6th District of Florida, get going. Wisconsin, get going. See you tomorrow.